Good evening, everybody.
So nice to see you all joining us. A lot of y'all are here tonight.
Oh yeah.
We're excited to talk to you all.
Give everybody just one more minute and we'll go ahead and get started to honor your time. Okay, my friends, shall we get started? Team, are we good to go?
I think so. Let's do it.
Wonderful. Okay, everybody, parents, students, the CUSD, thank you so much for joining the Futurology team tonight for our 9th and 10th grade college and career planning orientation. We will be hosting the event tonight and I will be introducing our team members. Just to let you know, a couple housekeeping items before we get started. This webinar is being recorded, so if you have to excuse yourself early, don't worry about it. We'll send out a recording after tonight's presentation, along with some resources and handouts as well for you. You are currently muted, your cameras are off. This is a webinar platform. We can't hear you and we can't see you. If you do have a question, please feel free to type it into the Q&A. And that should be on your screen. It says Q&A and you'll be able to type your questions in there. And we'll make sure to answer those questions as we go along, keeping in mind that hopefully we'll end up answering your questions as we go along. So give us some time to do that. And we'll also hang back at the end to answer your questions as well. With that, let's go ahead and get started. So I wanted to introduce myself and our team to you. My name is Bea. I'm one of the Futurology counselors, and I'm joined here tonight with the entire Futurology team. We have with us Ms. Kristen Jones, we have Jennifer Manzanares and Ms. Monica Cabrera, along with a couple other very special guests whom you will be meeting in a little bit, and we'll introduce them in a little bit. We have a special treat for you tonight. But who are we? I'm sure a lot of you have heard of us, right, of the Futurology team, but we are professional school counselors who are here to serve the students of Capistrano Unified in the areas of college and career. We are data driven. We make sure that what we are providing to you is backed by solid data, and that, you know, our programs and what we're delivering to you is based on your needs as a district, right? We're here for one-on-one appointments with you. For 9th through 12th graders, we're here to provide workshops, presentations like this, and we support our local high schools and middle schools as well. So just keep us in the back of your head. Go to our website if you haven't. We have a ton of resources for you. With that, I want to get a sense of who's in here tonight. So if you could give me an idea of what grade level we have represented tonight. This is for 9th and 10th graders, so I'm expecting a lot of 9th and 10th graders, but we might have some other random grade levels in here as well. Let's see here. Okay, everybody is rapidly answering. Thank you for your participation in this poll. We have a lot of 9th graders in here. I'm going to give you just a couple more seconds to answer the poll, just so I know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end polling in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So as you can see, we have a lot of 9th graders in here, but also a solid amount of 10th graders. So thank you so much for joining and, you know, for being here to learn more about what it is that you need to do to get on track. And parents, if you're here with your students, thank you for being here to support your students as well. So this is our agenda for tonight. What are we going to be talking about? This is a college and career planning orientation. So it's going to involve both, because your journey in high school involves both, right? College and career are going to go hand in hand. We're going to talk about college admissions and the world of work overview. Okay, I'm going to give you a sense of what we hope to accomplish with you throughout your high school journey. We're going to talk about your classes and how they relate to your future, why they're important, right? We're going to discuss how you can reach your highest potential while you're in high school. And then we're going to discuss your personal timeline and what you can do as a 9th grade student or as a 10th grade student to make sure that you're on track in your college and career journey. And finally, we're going to talk about how you can build that support team to get the support that you need to get you where you need to be on your individual timelines. So college and career planning, that's our bread and butter. This is what we do. This is, this is what we live for. And in our work with you in 9th and 10th grade, as you meet with us and as you just work your way through high school, these 3 areas are what we hope you will have a solid knowledge of by the time you're done with high school, okay? And it starts with career exploration, all right? And what that means is an understanding first and foremost of who you are as an individual, what makes you tick. You can't do anything else until you have a sense of how you operate in the world, right? And so part of our job as college and career counselors and your counselors at your sites, at your high schools and your academic advisors is to help you understand yourself and what makes you tick, what gives you energy, so that you can then make better informed decisions about your future, majors, colleges, career pathways down the line, right? Part of career exploration is also understanding that it's not one and done situation. You don't just take a quiz or an assessment and you're done understanding yourself. It goes on and on and on. And we change every single year. We change month by month, right? Especially at your age. And so what we want and hope for you is that you will continue this process in 9th grade, in 10th grade, in 11th grade, and 12th grade. It doesn't end. It goes into college as well. And it's important for you to understand that the exploration process is ongoing, okay? This is going to include, again, how do you find these things out? You're going to take assessments. You're going to get exposure to different industries, right? You're going to learn how to think critically, how to make appropriate decisions. And these are the things that will be built into your experience as a high school student, but that's the first step. Second step is what we would call career development. So you explore and then you start developing the knowledge, the skills, the ability that you're going to need to succeed, not only in college, but in your career, whatever they might be, whatever that might be, right? So it's important for you to understand something that we refer to as 21st century skills, because the world of work is changing, you guys. I don't know if you know this, but it's very different from how it used to be when I was your age or your parents, right? It's very, very different, and it's continuing to change. And what that means is that as students learning about this world of work, you have to be able to change with it. You have to learn the skills that you need to be adaptable in this world of work. We're going to be holding workshops on 21st century skills for you to start to learn those very kind of basic skills that you need to be able to survive out there in college and in your career of choice one day, right? But the world of work is changing, right? We have the gig economy. We have 36% of US workers participating in the gig economy. And if you don't know what that is, right? Think Uber Eats, right? TaskRabbit, Grubhub. I mean, all of you know what this is because we have all taken advantage of it, especially in the last several months. And this is changing how the world of work looks, and it's changing what kind of workers are going to be valued in the workforce. So we want to make sure that you're aware of these changing things, right? Also understand that things like automation will also change careers, and what you're learning about and what you've learned about as far as careers go in the course of your life as students. I mean, 60% of the jobs that you're learning about right now are going to be gone or automated within the next 10 or 15 years. Things like being a driver, a farmer, a printer, a bank teller, an accountant, those things will eventually be automated. So we need to learn, we need to teach you, right? What jobs are going to be resilient in the face of that, right? What do you think? In your mind, what are you thinking? Man, what job is going to, outlast and kind of endure through automation? I'm talking about things like robotics, raw materials, psychologists and therapists. Those are not going away. So for those of you who have an interest in social sciences or psychology, right, that's probably going to be a pretty good industry to be in. Elderly care, tech engineers, right? these are the things that we'll be able to work with you on so that you have an understanding of how the world of work is changing, right? That's part of your career development that will happen in the course of high school. And then finally, an understanding of college admissions. We want you to understand what it is like to be competitive for college and what it means for you, and if that aligns with your journey, depending on what you discover you want to do. But you have to understand that you have options, okay? College is not for everybody and is not the only pathway to success and to obtaining your career goal. We want you to understand that there are many different pathways that you can pursue. And tonight's theme is going to be college and career ready, right? We don't want you just to be ready to be competitive for college. We want you to be ready for the world of work right away. And that will also lead to your success in college if you choose that path. But you can go on to community college, get an associate's degree. You can go on to a four-year university or college and get a bachelor's degree. There are apprenticeships available to you, programs, certifications, things that you can actually start working on now as a high school student at Saddleback or through CCA, which Monica is going to tell you more about in a little bit, okay? But just know that you have options and that your journey will look very different from, you know, those around you, and it's going to be very unique to you. And that's the objective, okay, is for you to do that discovery process and to learn over the next few years and to be both college and career ready. That is the goal, right? So with that in mind, we're talking about the world of work, about careers and all of that fun stuff. Let's play a little game, okay? Let's talk a bit about college, and we'll tie that into careers in a second, but let's talk about college right now. My bird's going a little crazy. Sorry for the extra noise, but I'm going to give you a second to answer a poll for me because I want you to tell me what you think is the most important, okay? When colleges are looking at students and they're thinking, gosh, we want this student at our school, what do you think is the most important factor that they're looking at? Okay, let's see here. Give you 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so it looks like the winner here is grades, okay? The consensus is probably grades. Demonstrated interest is actually in second place. So let's take a look at the results and see what we've got. So coming in first is actually classes. This is not the final word, okay? So what I'm sharing with you is, you know, what we have found in our work as counselors, but also as admissions readers, which all of us on the Futureology team have been or are currently, okay? Classes, what do we mean by that? The rigor of your high school classes, the classes you choose to take. Are you challenging yourself, right? Are you taking classes that align with your stated interest and passion, right? Secondly, which is what you voted on, was grades. You chose challenging classes or you chose these classes. Did you do well in them? Did you try your best, right? They're going to look at your academic profile. Third, we have test scores. That's going to change. Already you can see how the world of college admissions and work is changing, right? Because testing is changing before your very eyes. But traditionally, test scores also help students. That's not just SAT and ACT, that's also APs as well. So if you're taking an AP test, those scores also can help and add value to your application. After that, they're going to compare you to your classmates and see where you rank, right? Where you fall in the context of your own high school, right? So 1, 2, 3, and 4. What do we have in common? These are very academic. So we want to make sure that you're setting a solid academic foundation for yourself. And then finally, for 5, it's everything else. Everything else is icing on the cake, right? It's going to add incredible value to your application. And these are all things that you do that should align with what you're passionate about, what you're interested in, okay? And all of these things combined will make you a competitive student for college, if that's your pathway, right? If that's what you end up choosing for yourself, understanding that you are going to have many different pathways to obtain your career goal. So ultimately, we want you to understand the school and career connection and the fact that what you're learning right now, the classes that you're choosing to take, right? All of them play a huge role in what you decide to do one day, in the kind of worker you're going to be one day, right? And the level of satisfaction you're going to obtain in your job is how you, not only what you learn in school, but how you're interacting with teachers and with students. You're learning valuable skills every single day, okay? English and math, they're teaching you how to be able to articulate your ideas, how to think critically, how to solve problems. So while you might not necessarily use pre-calculus or the formula for a slope in your job one day, you are learning how to solve a problem, and that's programmed into your brain and teaching you how to solve problems, right? The time management skills that you're using right now to schedule, to balance your hybrid schedules or your online schedules, whatever it may be, right? Emailing your teachers for help. You're learning really valuable skills that are going to translate into your life above and beyond college and high school one day. And we want you to be able to understand that, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Monica to touch on you know, some more academic factors for you to consider.
All right. Thanks, B. So let's just go back to the basics a little bit, right? So B talked about the connection between your classes and your post-secondary options or your career connection. So I kind of want to go back to the basics and kind of give you all an understanding of what the courses you should be taking at a minimum, right? To be able to say that you are prepared for the next step after high school. So these are what that's called the A through G requirements. So some of you may be familiar, maybe you've talked to your academic advisor about these A through G minimum requirements, or maybe you've seen posters sometimes placed at different places in school. So I want to just kind of go over it just so that everybody's in the same page and everybody understands what A through G requirements are. So A through G requirements are a sequence of 15 different courses or different courses that you will be completing throughout your 4 years of high school. So as you can see on the screen, these are composed by these different subjects, right? So history, English, math, lab, science, language other than English, visual and performing arts, and college prep elective. So that's and then you can see the letter assignment to each subject. So that's why they call the A through G minimum requirements. So as you can see in the middle column, you can see how many years are the minimum requirements for that specific subject. So in order for you to successfully complete these requirements, you must pass those classes with a grade of C or better. 1 year equals to 1 semester. So for example, English is 4 years because you're doing every year that you're in high school, you're going to be doing English. You're going to be taking an English course. And then on the far right, where you see the little arrows, those are like what we say, like it's recommended if you want to be a more competitive applicant, especially if you plan to attend a 4-year college or university after high school. So that's what is recommended if you want to be a more competitive applicant. So these classes represent like the basic level of knowledge that students should be able to achieve with the grades of C's or better. But if you're thinking about going to a 4-year university, the way that 4-year universities see these classes is that these classes are preparing you to be successful in college, right? You're gaining a diverse knowledge, right? You're gaining diverse knowledge. And then you're also, by demonstrating that you can pass these classes with the C or better, you kind of showing that you can meet that rigor as well. So again, the main takeaway I think for this is to make sure that you are passing those classes with the C or better. And if you have any concerns about these, to talk to your academic advisor. The good news though for 9th and 10th graders joining us today is that you already started, right? All of you should be in English, all of you should be in math, some of you are in science right now. So the good news is that you already started. Now you have that knowledge that in order for you to meet the minimum, you have to get grades of C's or better. And you also have an understanding of how many years you have to complete. And we're going to be sharing a resource so that you can review this information later on as well. Okay, so another kind of resource that we wanted to share with you all is this high school course catalog, which you can find on your high school's guidance website. And if you don't know where that is, if you go to your school's website, there should be a guidance tab under your website, your school's website, where you can find a lot of information. And one of those is being this course catalog. So we wanted to share this as a tool to kind of help you plan those courses, or to kind of give you more ideas of what kind of resources are available or opportunities are available at your school. So for example, like at San Juan Hills, they have a business and finance pathway program. So if that's one of your interests, that might be something that you can talk to your academic advisor about, or plan to join as you are moving through high school. So this course catalog is also includes, again, the A through G chart so that you can review it. And then also gives descriptions of the classes based on your school. So make sure that, you know, after you leave today, you might start to think like, where can I view all the classes that are available at my school to start planning this? Then you can go ahead and click on this catalog to make sure that you have access to those courses. Or you can also, you know, check in with your academic advisor. And then the last thing I will say is that you can also read more about how to review your transcript. This may become it's not so relevant now as you're just starting your high school, but it might be more important later as you are starting to plan out, like, am I meeting the A through G requirements? Am I meeting the graduation requirements? How do I compare? Am I a competitive applicant for the universities that I want to apply to? So there's just so many resources in this catalog. Okay, so now that we've kind of covered A through G, you understand that that's the standard minimum, but we want our students to understand too that if you are planning to, you know, to pursue for university education, that you want to stand out too. You want to explore the different options that are available for you as part of our district. So besides the A through G courses, there are many ways for students to kind of explore their interests, explore their career. And some of those are like with our partner programs, so College and Career Advantage, and then also maybe taking community college course. So I think the keywords for thinking about how do my high school courses connect to my future is, like, the keywords are being intentional, right? Choosing colleges that are specifically based on the plans that you have for yourself for the future, right? What are the courses that are going to prepare me for the future career that I'm planning to pursue? Or what are the courses that I have an interest in, right? So it might not be necessarily tied to the major career that you are pursuing, but you just have a general interest in those courses. So for example, you might consider, like, if you want to major in chemistry in college, you may want to consider taking, besides just the general chemistry course, you might think, well, maybe I can take the AP course so that I can continue to develop my knowledge in chemistry, and so that I can show that I am going to be proficient in this topic, right? That I can show that I am I am interested in pursuing this major, or maybe even taking a community college course in chemistry to even further develop your knowledge and skills in chemistry. So there's just so many ways for you to kind of connect these two things. And I think the main three reasons that we want to kind of encourage that is so that students can, again, demonstrate to universities that they are successful in these courses, and then they can prepare themselves for that major or career. And then also to determine whether or not that career or major or interest is a good fit for you, right? So you may find out that you really love it, or you might find out that you actually hate it. So those are the main things. Okay, I think we can move on. So as I mentioned, one of those partners or one of those programs that students could take advantage of is our CCA, or College and Career Advantage. And this is, they provide opportunities for students to take courses during school and after school that prepare them for on-demand careers, right? So it could be on many different kinds of topics. So these are courses available at our high schools and middle schools. So these courses can range from, like, robotics, video game design, let's see, engineering, fire science, medical core, culinary arts, fashion design. There's just so many different topics and courses that are available to students through CCA, which is our college and career education courses. So you may hear me saying CCA or CTE, but I'm essentially saying the same, as CCA provides career technical education courses at our district. So, well, I think we can move along. So speaking of CCA, I do have two very special guests with me. I am very excited to introduce you all to two of our actual fellow students from CUSD. There are two CCA ambassadors, and there are Lily and Satya. And they are here to talk to you all about about the opportunities available through CCA or CTE. Well, welcome, Lily and Satya, if you can join us. Hi, Satya. Okay, and then let's wait for Lily. Hi, Lily. So I am really excited that you both decided to join us tonight. So I want to hear more about you. So please first introduce yourself. Tell me where you go to school, what grade you're in.
Okay, I can go first. Hi, I'm Satya. I go to Dana Hills High School and I'm a senior there.
Hi, I'm Lily and I'm a senior at Tesoro High School.
All right, perfect. So thank you both. So I'm hoping that you both can answer some questions, just so our students and our audience that's here tonight can learn more about CCA and how they can be more intentional about their courses, about the courses that they sign up for, and planning all the courses for high school. So, well, first, let me, I want to know, how did you become a CCA ambassador? What does it mean to be a CCA ambassador? And so please, we can start with Satya.
Yeah, so I became a CCA ambassador last year, and actually one of these lovely ladies asked me from the Futureology team. She knew that I was part of the Health and Medical Occupations program at my school and that I was taking a CCA class from it. So she recommended that I join. And I looked into it and I thought it was a pretty interesting extracurricular, something fun to do. So yeah, I joined, and this is my second year doing it.
Awesome. Lily?
So I also joined last year. I was recommended by my medical core teacher. He thought that I would be a good fit for it. And when I looked into it, I thought it would be really fun. And like after the first meeting, I was like kind of obsessed. It was really fun. So yeah.
Yeah. So what do CCA ambassadors do? We can start with Lily.
So we go to events like such as this one, and then open houses and college fairs just to speak with other people and other students, to introduce them to different courses and like different options and tell them about our experiences. At our own meetings, we brainstorm like for events, and we also like make like bulletin boards and flyers just so we can get the news out there.
Perfect. Thank you, Lily. And then Satya, can you answer and tell us more, like, what is CTE and from your perspective?
Yeah, so from my perspective, CTE or CCA is just a really great opportunity for high school students to learn way more about potential careers that they want to pursue. So for me, when I was entering high school, I kind of had the idea that I wanted to go into the medical field. So the Health and Medical Occupations program at my school requires us to take medical core. So that's the CTE program that I took last year. And it really exposed me to a lot of the different fields in the medical industry. And that's how I kind of came across the fact that I could actually go into engineering, specifically biomedical or chemical engineering, and still be considered a part of the medical industry. I know that sounds more like STEM or technology, but if you specifically go into medicine and stuff like that, then you can be part of the medical industry. And that really appealed to me because it was something really different. So in short, CTE is just a really wonderful opportunity to learn about careers that you probably never considered before.
Awesome. All right, well, let's move to the next question. I think Satya already answered this. So what course pathway did you participate in? and then what led you to take that course, and then did you have a career in mind prior to enrolling in these courses? So let's start with Lily first.
So the first CTE course I took was multimedia and design. So at Tesoro, it's in conjunction with yearbook your freshman year, and it just teaches you like all the basics of like Photoshop and like writing and everything, and then you're also creating the yearbook at the same time. And that was just really fun. And 4 years later, I'm still doing it, and I'm editor-in-chief, and it's great. Um, and then I took medical core because I was interested in the medical field. I wasn't exactly sure where I wanted to go yet. And then it allowed me to pinpoint like what specifically I want to do, which is going into cognitive sciences. And then it allowed me to speak with like people and go into internships, which was amazing. And then I really enjoyed that. So now I'm taking sports med as well.
Awesome. And then Satya, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I could add a little bit. So, like Lily, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do in the medical field, and MedCore really helped me with that. And specifically at my high school at Dana, the HMO program, that's the short version of Health and Medical Occupations, we get to do an internship at Kaiser Hospital, and that was really, really fun. I feel like if you didn't have any experience with surgery, I got to do the general and vascular surgery department, so I got to watch real life surgeries. Nothing too crazy like cyst removals and stuff, but still it was really interesting to kind of see the whole process and everything. So that definitely, if you're interested in anything in the medical field, that probably would pinpoint you towards surgery or the taking care of the hospital and stuff. It was really fun for me.
Awesome. So I've heard so many different benefits, but I actually want to hear more if you have anything else to add. So what are some additional benefits of taking a CTE course, or, you know, doing a pathway like the medical occupations pathway? Like, what are some of the benefits of doing those? You can start with Satya again.
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest benefits are the fact that you get experience, and these classes also set you apart from other applicants. Obviously, these classes are kind of gearing you towards preparing for college. So these classes specifically will already give you some hands-on experience, whereas most of your high school classes are just learning, lectures, and that kind of stuff. You don't really get to do what you want to do. And so that's a really great plus for these. And it also doesn't hurt that a lot of these are grade bumps. So MedCore, for me, that's a grade bump. I know that robotics is a grade bump, and that counts as a CTE course. So that's really awesome. And like I said, it just really sets you apart and kind of gets you ahead of all your other college applicants or even college classmates who aren't as experienced as you.
Perfect. Thank you, Satya. And Lily, what are, from your perspective, what are some of the benefits of CTE?
I feel like Satya covered a lot of them, but for me at least, I got a lot of opportunities out of it as well. So I got 2 internships and then obviously this. And then you get to speak with a lot of professionals who are in the field. So you get like that firsthand like communication that you don't normally get to do. So if you have like questions about like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to become a pediatrician, for example, and you're able to speak to a pediatrician and get like their opinions on it. Also, we have like this requirement that you have to make resumes, which is definitely a lifesaver. And we do a lot of planning like that, which really helps like in the long run.
Perfect. I'm glad you mentioned resumes too, because we as counselors, we also help with that. So that's wonderful. I think it's a wonderful thing that CCA is doing, because you did definitely need to get those skills before you leave high school. So one next question is, so I want to hear like, what are your plans after high school, right? Like, what are your plans? What major, what career are you planning to pursue, and how did CCA and CTE help shape that? Or how did CCA or CTE prepare you for that career that you're pursuing? And we can start with Lily.
So going into medical core, I was very set on like, I want to go into the medical pathway and I want to go into surgery. After taking it and speaking with surgeons, I was like, maybe this isn't for me. So now I'm planning on majoring in cognitive sciences and going into neurology. Um, and I'm planning on researching, which I learned through multiple of the outlets that we got in medical corps as well. So that really helped me at least. And I know it helps a lot of other people, so I highly recommend it.
So, Satya?
Yeah, so kind of similar story for me. Going into MedCorps, I had this idea that I wanted to maybe be like an actual doctor, physician, or a surgeon, something like that. Kind of like the more basic, the ones that just come to mind first when you think of the medical field. But then after getting to meet some guest speakers who were engineers, like biomedical and chemical, like I said earlier, I realized that that was something really interesting to me. And then after taking AP chemistry, I was like, yeah, I definitely want to be a chemical engineer. As of right now, that's what I applied to most colleges with as my degree. And hopefully, I think I'm going to really like it, especially because I already have some experience and some knowledge going into this. So that's been really awesome. But like I said earlier, STEM, like engineering sounds like the STEM field and everything, maybe not so much as a medical field, but there's actually a lot of other people in my medical core classes who are also going into engineering, and they also want to focus in the medical world specifically. And so just to kind of reiterate, these classes, even if you think they might not be what you want, like let's say you do want to be an engineer, this class, like medical core, can still definitely help you kind of specify what kind of specialty in engineering you want to do. So yeah.
Okay, really, really awesome points. But I also want to know, like, now that students know all this information, they know all these great things about CCA and CTE, how can they learn more about CCA or CTE here at the district? And we can start with Satya.
Yeah, so for me, like I said, one of these lovely futurology ladies helped kind of introduce me to the CCA ambassador program. So they definitely know a little bit about it. So you could contact them. You could contact any one of your teachers. I'm sure at any of your high schools that they would know who to get into contact with who is a CTE teacher. And you can also just look at your school's webpage, just look it up there. Yeah, these classes usually are going to be available in when you're picking out your schedule each year. You should be able to see those classes. So yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah. Lily, anything you'd like to add in terms of how do students learn more about CCA or CTE?
I recommend speaking to your counselor. So when I spoke to mine, she helped me like plan it out and then which courses would correspond best with like what I was planning on doing and like my interests. So definitely speak to your counselor.
Well, I think that wraps up the questions. I did want to just kind of give you another opportunity, Lily and Satya, to kind of, if there's anything else you want to share with the students that are and families that are joining us tonight, they're 9th and 10th graders. Is there any advice? It doesn't have to be related to CCA or CTE, but is there anything else that you want to kind of give advice to these students who are 9th and 10th graders? And we can start with Lily.
In general, just like try new things. I really regret like not doing this my freshman year, and I didn't really start doing it until my sophomore year. Try new things. Like you have so many opportunities in high school to just like test new things out, like take different courses, join different clubs. I just really recommend doing that. Just get the best out of your experience. If you have like a little interest in mind, like for example, like I kind of like photography, then like try a photography class or join a photography club. I highly recommend doing that. It just opens a lot of doors. And you don't know, it might become your career one day. So yeah.
Thank you, Lily. Satya?
Yeah, pretty much the same as Lily. I wish I had known about these CTE courses sooner. I didn't really find out about them until my junior year, and that was because I was required to take medical core from the HMO program. But I really wish I had known that there's such a variety. I know Lily and I kept talking about medical core, but there's so many other courses for engineering, robotics, if you want to be a firefighter, just a ton of different courses. And I really wish I knew about those. Even if I didn't want to pursue those careers, I think it'd just be something really, really fun to do. And maybe it would end up making me want to pursue that career and realize whatever I was interested in before isn't as fun. But yeah, so I really wish that I knew about these before. So even for the 10th graders, it's definitely not too late at all. Definitely take a CCA course next year and your senior year, as many as you want. They're really great courses.
Okay, well, I think that's, I'm gonna let you both go, but thank you so much for joining us, for sharing the great information, your experience, your knowledge, your advice. We have so much to cover with our students. The rest of the presentations, we still have quite a few to go through. So I just want to let you both go. But thank you so much for joining us. Again, students, if you want to learn more about CCA, you heard from them who you should reach out, and you should also check out their website. So thank you both. I'll let you go for tonight. Have a good night, both of you. Thank you, Satya and Lily. Okay, so I'm going to continue on. I have a couple of more things that I wanted to talk to you before I pass it along to my colleague, Jen. So one thing that I did mention, the other opportunity that you have is to, other courses that you can explore is doing community college courses, what we call dual enrollment. So that's just a fancy way of saying that you're a high school student and a college student at the same time. So we encourage our students to also explore this as another option, that if they have very specific interests that are not available at your school, then you can take a community college course for free. High school students don't have to pay for registration, and research has shown that dual enroll students have a greater success of completing a four-year degree. So it is a really great opportunity for students to explore their different interests, to learn about different careers, and to earn college credit. So that's just another opportunity for you. And then in the next, if you go next, B, thank you. If you have no idea where to start, what courses you could potentially be taking at the community colleges like Saddleback or Irvine Valley College, we provided an example of what courses you could be taking based on grade level. So if you see on the screen, there's some courses that we recommend for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Of course, this is not the only classes that you could consider taking. These are just some examples to give you an idea of what you should be considering, but you can take a course in anything really, as long as you meet the requirements to take that course. If you are really seriously considering doing a community college course, that's a conversation you to have with your academic advisor so that they can help you through the process, and so that they can make sure that you are making a good decision and that you're making progress still towards completing your A through G requirements and your graduation requirements. So my just takeaway from all of this is to be intentional about the courses, know about all the different opportunities that you have. But with that, I'm going to leave you and I'm going to pass it along to my colleague, Jen.
Okay, hi everyone, you're doing great. We're about halfway through, a little more than halfway through. So we're just gonna power through tonight. So reaching your highest potential during high school, right? That's our goal for you. That's why we're glad you're joining us tonight. There's a saying that goes, you're on your way when you plan your day, right? So let's plan for success today. So B, if you can go to the next slide. The key to success is to have balance, right? So you want to make sure that you are having a good balance of, academics, personal, social, and this is something that you learn as you go through 9th and 10th grade. And let's go ahead and start with the academic piece. You want to make sure that you're managing your time appropriately, right? Making sure that you're able to give yourself time to study. If you need help building study skills, that's something you can talk to us or your counselors or your teachers about. One little tool that I like to recommend students to use is called the Pomodoro technique. So there's a little tomato there. So you can look up tomato timer. And when we send out this presentation, you'll be able to get the link as well. It pretty much gives you some time, a timer of 25 minutes for you to focus on something, then give yourself a break and then go back to it. It's a good way to power through something and make sure that you're being productive during your study time or homework hours. So again, that's part of managing your time, right? Talk to your teachers. If you are struggling in any subject, be sure to look for tutoring. It's never too late to ask for help. If you have a question, more than likely other students have questions too. So please take that opportunity to connect with them. Pursue extra credit if possible. You never know if you might need it at the end of the semester, so don't wait till the end. Definitely set time aside to study for tests. If you have big projects, make sure you give yourself some time to work on them. Here we have linked over 100 free apps that students can use as well, which will be included in the presentation when you get it emailed tonight. Feel free to kind of go through those. Those are good ways to kind of make sure that you have a good balance as well and are successful academically. As far as the personal social piece, make sure, as the ladies earlier, Satya and Lily mentioned, it's the value of getting involved. We can't emphasize it enough. We really want you to take advantage of clubs and activities available to you. I know, right now we're kind of living in strange times. So, try to make the best of it. If there's any opportunities that are being offered in a virtual capacity, take advantage of it. It still allows you to connect with your peers and also, start to learn what it is that you like about yourself, as well as careers and potential majors in the future down the line. As I mentioned, talk to your school counselor. They're amazing at being supportive for students. And then continue to pursue any interests or hobbies that you have outside of school. And thank you, B, because as you go through, planning for school, as you go through these interests and hobbies that you have, believe it or not, as B mentioned earlier, you are preparing yourself for your future career, right? Because you're exploring things that you like, that you don't like. This is a career process that I created for our program. And it's something that we all pretty much go through with students to help them understand how this works, right? Oftentimes students are very ambitious and we love that, right? They say, I want to get to Harvard. Coming in freshman year, talking to me about Harvard, and I'm like, amazing, great. But let's start with, what do you want to do first, career-wise, right? Career exploration is a lifelong process, but we have to start with what it is that you like, right? What are you interested in? What do you find yourself looking, what are you more hungry for information-wise, right? What do you see yourself reading up on, tuning into, really getting excited about? If you're not really sure, you can always start with some assessments, right? Taking some self-assessments to explore what your values, skills, and strengths are. That's step number 1 here. From there, the results of the assessments would take you to step 2, which will align you to career pathways, right? Those results can help connect you to careers that you might be really good at based on your responses. Now, there's not one career assessment that's going to determine everything for you. So we recommend students take multiple ones. And you're actually in luck. I'm going to talk about Eureka in a little bit, but we can help you with this process, okay? Because once we connect you with career assessments and you're able to see that the results give you some career options, you'll be able to get to step 3, which is understanding what majors or training is required to help you get to that career pathway you're interested in, right? And then step 4, the piece that everyone usually talks about is, okay, what am I going to major in? What colleges are a best fit for me? Though that's pretty much how the process works. Step 5 is just, redefining what does success mean to you and, what career you're in and starting this process as needed. And our next slide here, we're going to talk about the college and career success timeline here. So we talked about the process, but now a visual representation of what this means grade-wise. B made this nice little visual here for us. 9th and 10th grade is where you're at right now, which is perfect because this is the very beginning of the planning process where you want to start understanding, how to do research, understanding what your Holland code is, right? Holland code, you can get an assessment to help you understand what occupations you're interested in based on your interests. You can take opportunities to do some job shadowing, understanding what it is people do in their career day in and day out, what they like about their job, what they dislike about their job. And you can get that from your career pathways results, right? You understand what your learning style is. This is how you start paying attention to how you learn best, right? Are you more of a visual learner? Are you more auditory where you like to just hear things? Are you self-driven where, note-taking and things of that nature? These are things that you definitely want to take advantage of 9th and 10th grade. Again, measuring, what it is that you enjoy most will get you to the next step of the career piece, major, and then lastly, 12th and 11th grade, really finding the best fit options for you for your post-secondary options, whether you do go to a 4-year community college, trade school, whatever it is that it's going to be best for you. Again, it all starts today, right? Just thinking about what it is that you like to do and exploring ways to get there. And in our next slide, we'll talk about, as a 9th grader, what can you start doing now? Monica did a great job of talking about A through G, right? Those are the 15 classes that you want to make sure you're talking to your academic advisor about, making sure you plan for the future, right? Understanding that the classes that you are signing up for, are going to lead you to have more options when you graduate high school. Considering the CCA courses or CTE options. Making sure that you're involved in and out of school, as we mentioned earlier. And then summertime is a beautiful opportunity for you to have free time to explore your interests, right? As we mentioned earlier, taking a free college class is not a bad idea because 1, you save money, 2, you can explore your interests, and you can definitely, start working towards your degree, even in high school. As I mentioned earlier, this career exploration piece is a lifelong process, right? But starting it now is a good idea, and we can help you with that. Soon we will be having our Eureka Career Exploration workshops, which you're actually required to participate in, or you can go through our self-paced program on our website, Map Your Future. In these workshops, you will be able to be guided step by step through assessments, career pathways, majors, and colleges, kind of like I just talked about. So be on the lookout for that on our website. We will also have some 21st century skills webinars, career panels, a lot of really great stuff coming up that we all encourage you to take advantage of. So hopefully we can continue helping you with your college and career goals. And then lastly, we do have one-on-one appointments to personalize this process for you. We understand it can be overwhelming sometimes, so we're more than happy to help guide you through this process. And the same goes for sophomores, right? We're here for you, somewhat similar to 9th grade in terms of what you ought to be doing, but you want to kind of continue where you're at with your A through Gs, making sure you're checking in with your academic advisors, right? You don't want to be surprised with what's going on your transcript or what your degree plan is. You should know, right? You're the one building it. You, your family, and your academic advisors or counselors on campus, making sure that you are being intentional about doing college career exploration, right? And then at this time, 10th grade is when we typically encourage students to take a mock SAT and a mock ACT. We encourage practice tests for both of those so that you can get an idea of what your baseline score is for both. And then once you get an idea of what your baseline score is, we are able to determine which test is best for you and then which one you should focus on. Because ultimately, you just need to take one official test, either SAT or ACT, not both. Colleges don't have a preference, so let's be strategic and set you up for success by getting you to take a practice SAT and ACT this year in the spring if you are a 10th grader. And again, if you need more support with that, any testing timeline support, we're definitely available to help you with that in a one-on-one appointment. And as I mentioned earlier, again, 9th and 10th grade is really the perfect time to do exploration, volunteering for, local community things that you feel passionate about, taking advantage of any college classes over the summer if possible. You can talk to your academic advisor about that as well. Oh, and now I'm going to take it away and give it to Kristen. She's going to wrap it up for us.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. We are really, really close to the end. I hope I've been able to answer a lot of your questions in the Q&A. So if you have some that are still coming in, we'll definitely get to those in just a little bit. So I'm going to talk a little bit about building your support team and how many options or how many awesome people you have here within CUSD to make sure that your college and career planning is super successful. So in CUSD, we have a lot of different partners that are a part of our student success program. We have school counselors that are on site with our students at the high school and middle school and elementary school level as well. They cover academic subjects or academic support, social and emotional supports typically, and sometimes they additionally add into our college and career piece. You also have academic advisors. They are your on-site academic experts. They help you choose your classes, they go through advisement, they help you make your 4-year plan, and they're the people who can help connect you guys to either your CCA options, your dual enrollment options, or some of the other things that we talked about tonight. You have teachers. Your teachers are also your on-site academic experts. Believe it or not, your teachers also make recommendations for your classes and your course pathways. So as Bea and Monica and Jen have all discussed earlier this evening, the performance in your classes and the classes that you're taking also help your teachers to make recommendations for you for your future classes. So as you guys start the advisement process into February and March and April, depending on your school, when you meet with your academic advisor, they might already have a recommendation for you based on how you've performed in your classes this semester and last semester from your teachers. And finally, you have us, the Futureology team. Our team is extra support specific to college and career guidance. We host group workshops like this and presentations. We have events, one-on-one appointments, as well as targeted interventions for certain student groups on our campuses. So together, there are a lot of different partners that you can choose to engage with or invite into your college and career planning piece. You definitely can stick with all 4. You can choose one that's more targeted if you'd like to, but all of us are here to make your high school planning process fun and super successful. So I get the fun part of the presentation to tell you guys all about what we're going to be doing over the next couple of months. I like to describe Futureology as a very much a la carte service. So if you guys are here tonight, you've been able to successfully register for an event, which is awesome. I'm going to talk through a little bit of the other events that we're going to be doing later through the semester, and then how you guys can participate or take advantage of this as well. The first one that's actually coming up next week is our Eureka 9-10 program. We also have a specific program for Eureka for juniors. Those programs are separate on purpose. Eureka 9-10 is the first kind of baseline step for students who have no idea what they'd like to do, or they're still trying to figure that out. The 9-10 version is a little bit more specific to mapping in terms of planning your future, hence our name. But this program is an hour and a half. It's online via Zoom. It includes access to our Eureka platform, which has career assessments. It's a whole software system that we use. It also connects you to, besides careers, just different major options, pathway options. We talk about a little bit more about CCA courses. It's a great first step for students who are just getting started or who want to participate a little bit more actively in the college and career planning process. Eureka 9-10 is a prerequisite for a one-on-one appointment with someone who's a part of our team. We also have a self-paced program that students can do if they can't make that particular day or time and they want another self-paced option. We have those on Canvas as well. Next up, starting in February, we have our 21st Century Skills curriculum. I'm so excited about these because we have never been able to do all of them before. 21st Century Skills, like we've mentioned briefly throughout this presentation, are specific skills that are applicable to any different job field or any different world of work. We're going to be covering 3 different topics this semester and hopefully be able to continue throughout the next few semesters. These are put together in conjunction with Rita Sultanian, who is the awesome director of the Career and Reentry Center at Saddleback College. It is a college level curriculum that we take and we utilize with our students here. So we're going to be talking about digital fluency and digital citizenship, what it means to be an entrepreneur, and then what it is to be adaptable. Each of these workshops are also about the same length as this. They're a little bit interactive, but it's more of a presentation style. And there are some activities that you get to do to understand what the skill set is, how can you practice it, and what does it mean to have that skill in the workplace. And then next up, we have our career series. Our career series connects very closely with 21st Century Skills, but they are different. Our career series are more of a panel presentation. So we have 2 or 3 industry professionals who'll be joining us and as they answer questions about their journey towards their career, what it's like now and how it's changing. Our first one that's going to be next month about e-commerce. We have a collective of influencers that are joining us, someone who owns their own boutique, a digital designer. So it's going to be really awesome to have a broader perspective on what these types of industries look like, what types of jobs exist within those industries, and how you can get started working towards some of these jobs or skill sets. Moving forward into March and April, we're going to be covering entrepreneurship or owning your own business, and also the hospitality industry in general. And then we also have our career success sequence. This is a sequence of 3 different events that you can participate in over the course of the semester. You can choose one, you can stagger them. This is one of our most stable programming that we've had for several years now, that's grown to be super, super popular. The first one is going to be in March, which is about creating your awesome resume. The second is about acing your interview. And then the third are actually professional mock interviews. The professional mock interviews are limited in terms of their space because we have to have enough interviewees and interviewers in terms of the process, but it's an awesome sequence to do all together. It's especially great for students who are maybe in 10th or 11th grade, a little bit older, that are leaning towards some of those internship opportunities or want to make sure that they're prepared for anything that comes their way. But it's an awesome sequence. You can choose to do one of those events or do all 3 if you'd like. And then finally, anything else that we have is available via our website in our webinar locker and our resource library. So our webinar locker houses all of our presentations just like this. There's over 100 presentations from our previous years, previous partners, and it's organized by topic. Our resource library, also on our website, is a collection of documents, data, relevant updates that changes year to year. Some of the checklists that Jennifer showed earlier are in there. Documents about building your college list or CCA course pathways are also in there. And then there's another 3rd tab on our website about the college fair. The college fair is an annual event. It was virtual for 2020. There were presentations on specific majors, specific topics. It's a great place to find information about an individual school, obviously, but it's also a great place to explore different majors and different topics that are available if you think that there is something that you'd like to study or learn more about in college. And that's it. So you guys have had a really robust Q&A, but if there are any additional questions, this is the time to ask. So please don't hesitate. I know we've had a few different questions about specific CCA courses and what's offered at individual high schools or not offered at individual high schools, but please feel free over the next few minutes to ask away if you guys have additional questions about anything that we've covered tonight, and we're happy to answer them for you.
Everybody here is a trooper. Thank you for sticking with us for all of the information. And just know that this all ties together. And if you're here tonight, you're taking a big step in the right direction in your personal journey. And just know that you have a lot of support along the way.
Yeah, so we have a few questions that are coming in. One specifically about how do you get into a CCA course? So CCA courses are open enrollment, meaning that they have a certain amount of space, but you just sign up with your academic advisor. There are certain courses I tried to explain in the chat that are specific to individual high schools. So if it's during the bell schedule, it's exclusive to that high school population. If it's after school, it's open to everyone. So all you need to do is talk to your academic advisor, take a look at the course catalog, and sign up. Awesome. Yes, we are sending this presentation out. Usually we are able to upload these presentations to our webinar locker within the week, but we'll be sending out definitely the slides, the recording, and some additional supplements in terms of resources for everyone who registered so that you guys can take a look and spend a little bit more time looking through some of the slides or things like that.
Somebody asked if sports med gets a grade bump, as in, I'm assuming you mean if it's weighted, right? Like, do you get 5 points for an A? It'll depend on your school. I just checked one of the schools, Elisa Nagel, offers sports med. It is an A through G approved class, which is great, right? So that'll count in your UC and Cal State GPA. However, per the UCs, it doesn't get a grade bump, so it's not weighted per the UCs. So for the purposes of calculating your GPA for the UCs and the Cal State, sports med would not be weighted.
Okay, we have some questions about the different names of high school titled classes and then community college or other titled classes. If you are looking into taking courses at Saddleback in terms of dual or concurrent enrollment, especially to replace a course like a language or a visual performing art that you would get credit for in high school, you definitely want to double check with your academic advisor or your Saddleback counselor on your campus. I gave you guys a nice, beautiful snapshot of all of the people who are typically involved in your support team, but you also have access to a Saddleback counselor as well. They are on your campus or virtual for now, usually 1 or 2 days a week at every single high school. So your academic advisor can connect you with them. If you have questions about what specific title course you should take, or if you're trying to replace a credit or anything like that on your transcript, you definitely want to double check before you enroll in those courses with them.
Yeah, we had more questions about CCA. So I'm going to put on the chat the website for CCA, so you can see the courses that are offered at our district. Also, these courses are just like your regular courses. They're not scheduled differently, right? So they start at the same time as you would start your English class or your math class. So they don't have a different schedule as you would see maybe for like a community college. These are classes at your school, and they're scheduled right along with your other classes, like your science classes, your English classes. So don't worry too much about when they're going to start. For now, for spring, they've already started because classes have already started. So if you want to sign up for CCA classes, this is a conversation that you should have with your academic advisor for next year, for the fall.
We have a few more questions about some of the events, including Eureka and some of our self-paced programs. So if you're not able to make Eureka next week, that's okay. We rotate each month between the 9th and 10th graders and the 11th graders. So there will be multiple opportunities to come later in the semester. Like Jen and our whole team tried to emphasize, this is an exploration process that is cyclical, meaning it happens over and over and over again. I think as adults, we all recognize and understand that we make transitions in our careers or transitions in our personal lives. And that's the same thing that we expect for students. So if they're unable to make our first initial presentation, please feel free to try and attend one of the others. If none of the timing works or there's a conflict kind of consistently, they're also able to participate in our self-paced program. That registration is on our website. It's a Canvas course, so we enroll students in monthly. So we'll be enrolling students in the next few weeks for February if that works out better for them. Let's see.
So somebody asked the question of the year, which is, are the SAT or ACT still required, right? And for 9th and 10th graders, the answer is we don't know. We don't even know what it's going to look like for juniors right now across the board for all those universities and colleges out there, right? What we do know is that things change. So being adaptable is going to be important for all of us, right? Whether or not it's going to be required for your graduating class is up in the air. Whether or not it's a good idea to take it, it could be a good idea to take the test, and that's going to depend on you individually and where you're at, right? And that's where some individual counseling might help, just to see where you're at. But there are other benefits to taking the SAT or ACT outside of college admissions. A lot of schools might use that to determine eligibility for grants and scholarships based on the campuses you're applying to. So that might be, something that you would consider and make it worth it for you to invest the time and energy and money into registering for an official test one day. Not now, maybe, down the line, 11th or, at the end of 11th grade. But there are other benefits to taking the test that aren't tied explicitly to college admissions. And again, even if colleges don't require SAT, ACT explicitly, they might go test optional, which means that you have the option of submitting a test score if you have one. And so if you do, that might add value to your application if you score well compared to, the average student getting into that school. There's a lot of calculus involved, a lot of, things to consider. So it's going to depend on you personally, and definitely a conversation that you can have with your academic advisor, counselor, or one of us down the line.
We had a question in congruence with that about if practice tests cost money. And so I just answered in the chat with our link, but no, they do not. Our program offers free practice and mock tests with our partners at Revolution Prep every fall and spring at no cost to our students. So the link is there if you guys want more information about testing or if you need some more information about registering for one of those mock exams. We have a question about students who have IEPs. or have some accommodations that I want to make sure that we address as well. There are definitely lots of different paths to consider for students of all learning abilities. If you have a specific question about college planning for students with an IEP or a 504, we had an awesome presentation at our college fair with 2 of our college representatives that I can send if you leave me your email in the chat, or if you guys email us directly at CUSD-Futureology. It's also on our website. They give some great tips about proactive planning, what to expect in the transition to college, and how to start that process really early. So we definitely have that resource for you. The other question that I want to make sure we answer is, as a freshman, how do you create your 4-year plan? So this is the process that you guys are going to start really, really soon through advisement with your academic advisors. You guys actually create your 4-year plan in Aries. It's been a while since you did this as maybe an 8th grader or a 9th grader, but you guys are going to input all of the courses that you would like to take next year and in the subsequent years into Aries, which is your student information system. When you meet with your academic advisor with your English or your social science class, typically, they'll go over all of the courses and what's been recommended for you by your teachers. So it's a little cross-reference of what are the things that you think you want to take and what are the things that your teachers assume that you're ready for based on your performance. And there's a nice placement guide that helps them make sure you guys are in all of the classes that you need. That process, like I said, begins for all students typically between February and March. But that's where you create your plan, that's where you can update your courses, and that's where it lives. Okay. You do not need to ask to meet with your academic advisor. It's an automatic meeting that all students have in the spring. Some also have them in the fall, depending on the school. If you as a parent want more information, you're more than welcome to reach out and just ask about when it happens or what's going on. But typically it's a really quick, pretty seamless process now that we have everything in Aries. Freshmen should not have created their 4-year plan yet unless they were in CCP last semester.
Great questions.
Yeah.
If anyone has any other questions, you've still got a little bit of time. We're here for you. We're glad you're joining us.
Yeah.
We have a lot of you kind of quietly sitting in here with us, 123 of you to be exact, so don't be shy. Take advantage of this time and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Oh, now that I said that, people are like, oh, I'm gonna go. I'm done.
And remember, if you tuned in late, we are sending out the recording of this webinar, and will also be available in our webinar locker on our website.
Hi, Anonymous. I need a little bit more information. Okay, how many classes are possible in each year? Typically, students take between 5 and 6 classes each academic year that they're in high school. Some really, really ambitious students will take an additional 7th class on top of that. Sometimes it's their sport elective or another activity that they participate in. But typically 6 is usually the maximum that we recommend.
Mm-hmm. And Rouse has a good question. He said, how often can you meet with futurology counselors? So there's 4 of us for the whole district. So in order to kind of accommodate student needs, we do offer a lot of group workshops, which Kristen kind of talked about earlier tonight. And but in addition to that, you do get the one-on-one appointments. We usually meet with, freshmen, if possible, and when they go through the Eureka workshop once during their spring semester, and then we kind of touch base with them again their sophomore year in the spring. Spring is when we really meet with freshmen and sophomores. So if you get to meet with us once and then you go through all our workshops, you should be feeling more prepared to reach your college and career goals. In between our workshops and our appointments, though, you're always more than welcome to reach out to us with any questions you have. We're definitely here to support you.
More questions coming in. So one of the questions was, are future events going to be emailed to me with sign up links? So we are gonna email you with some events that are coming up, but we will not always email you. So the best way to sign up for our events is to check out our website. So that's where you can find all our different events, all the event and our registration link. So we are gonna email you a flyer with all our events for this spring. So you can find all those links there and save that flyer.
And Monica, can I also add, we email you all a lot. So check your email. I just spammed you with an invitation to join this session. So we try to promote our events through School Messenger, through your email. So definitely keep track of those, okay? Don't just use them for your social media account creation. Make sure you check them and use your emails. This is good practice for college, so you don't miss out on great opportunities.
Yeah. If you also want a regular update about events that are happening or things that are coming up, you guys are always more than welcome to follow us on Instagram or on Twitter at CUSD-Futureology. It's great for parents and for students. I run our accounts and I will not follow you back. I promise. I have no interest in what you guys put on your social media. I just want you guys to know the things that we're doing. Our full event calendar is there, luckily because we plan so many events. Our full event calendar and some of the events that we described today are planned out actually through May. So if you're interested in finding out more of what we're doing in terms of college and career planning and development, everything is located on our website, and most options are taking registrations actually early right now. Okay.
So
We have
Terry, oh, I'm sorry, Kristen, go ahead.
Oh no, do you want to answer the SAT during the summer question?
Yeah, so SAT is offered in June, so that's an option. That's summer technically, but kind of coincides with the end of the school year. And then there's typically an August administration. So you kind of have, the middle part of summer to prepare. If you sign up for an August administration of the SAT, the June one, depending on your grade level, when you ultimately take it, might conflict with studying for AP exams, might conflict with studying for finals, which are very important because your GPA is important. So to answer your question, yes, June and August, those are your options. Terry asked if the mock SAT is done virtually or in person in normal years, right? So in the past, it was actually done in person at our high school campuses over the weekend. Things are changing, right? And we have found that the mock SAT and ACT done online over the weekends has been very effective and has been able to reach more students. And so we don't know what the future of mock testing looks like for the district down the line, right? Whether it will continue to be online or whether it will be in person, but as of this semester, it'll be online over the weekend.
Got some awesome questions coming in, guys. Sorry if you can hear my clickety typing. I'm trying to be fast. We have some questions about our availability that I think is really important. So we are a small team. This is it. This is Futureology right here. It's just the four of us. But you would be surprised. I think we try to do a really great job of maximizing everyone's availability for appointments. In the fall, our availability is a little bit more compromised because we only are servicing the juniors and the seniors as they work through their admission cycle. In the spring, it's open to everyone, but typically seniors are wrapped up or wrapping up a lot of their planning right now and getting ready to hear back from their colleges. So usually you're able to book an appointment about 2 weeks out. Is kind of our average time right now. You do have to plan ahead a little bit for an appointment, or if you'd like to speak with us one-on-one, but there's definitely availability there.
And
yeah, I mean,
sorry, go ahead, B.
Oh no, we have for example, we have sophomore appointments right now for next week, right? We definitely have availability next week in the evenings at 5 to 7 p.m., 2, 3, 7 p.m. So we definitely have some right now. The Eureka prerequisite is for 9th graders, right? We want our 9th graders to attend Eureka. If you're a sophomore, you can schedule. Correct me if I'm wrong, team. But you can. And so we do. If you're a sophomore, you can go ahead and register right now for an appointment with one of us next week.
We have some questions about how we're different from your academic advisors or academic counselors. We do a lot of the same things. So I know that can be a little bit confusing when you guys have your advisors, you have Futureology, and then you have your school counselors as well. The main difference is that our program is small. We're not exclusive to any particular school. So we service all 6 comprehensive high schools and then our additional programs within CUSD. We also partner really heavily with Laguna Beach Unified and with Saddleback as our partners. And we cover kind of these larger scale college and career planning and readiness topics for our district. So if you have a question about a specific course at your high school or a specific pathway at your high school, your academic advisor is still the best person to discuss that with, because they'll know about if those things are changing, who's teaching those classes, and all of those great nitty-gritty details. Our planning typically is a little bit more labor intensive. It's always one-on-one unless it's in a group format like this. But we are able to give you guys a lot of the same academic recommendations and guidance in terms of your overall planning towards your goals.
Somebody asked how to book a one-on-one because they have a ton of questions. So we can help you out with that. I'm actually going to take you on a really quick tour of the website just so you can see it. Okay, so you get a visualization of how to do this. You're going to have the website in the follow-up email that we'll send out to you. You're going to go to appointments and events on our webpage. Okay, and once you're there, you're going to get on the left-hand side all of the events that we have for the remainder of the semester, and you can register for any of these right now. Okay, and if you want to register for a one-on-one, you go to the right-hand side of the appointments and events page, and you'll see schedule an appointment. If you want it in Spanish, you can also schedule here. Monica and Jen offer Spanish appointments as well. So please take advantage of that if you think that it would be more helpful for your parent or guardian. Okay, and once you're there, you select your grade level, right? Right now, we're seeing sophomores, freshmen will make available once you're able to actually go to your first Eureka event, which will occur next week, okay? So hang tight on that, but for sophomores, this is where you would go. And it's as simple as clicking here and scheduling an appointment with one of us. And we have some availability for next week.
And Bea, since you're there, can you show us how to sign up for Eureka?
Absolutely. So if we're here and we go over to Eureka, and the next available one, the first one of the semester will be Tuesday, January 26th. You're going to go over here and you're going to register for the event. And from here, you're going to select the 26th, right? And you're going to confirm your registration. It's just going to look just like that. Okay.
Thank you, Bea. And then there was a question as well about when should they take the SAT and the ACT if they're still required, right? Right now you're 9th and 10th graders, so you don't have to worry so much about it. But once you reach junior years, when you can start, officially taking that test, it depends on your timeline, right? It depends on your testing timeline. So I recommend that when you meet with us, that we can talk to you about that timeline when you should be taking it officially, but it usually occurs during your junior year, taking that official test. Your practice tests typically happen towards the end of your sophomore year. Great questions.
All right. We have a question that I want to answer live because it's coming soon and we don't have all of the details about it yet, but it's about an internship collaboration program. So the question is there any internship collaboration program that programs or coordinates with companies to give hands-on experiences to students? That is in the works. It is something that is local to Orange County that we have been hearing a lot more buzz about, that we're working to bring to CUSD. When that might happen, we're not totally sure, but we're hoping within the year. Aside from that, CCA courses are the best plan of action to get access to a lot of those different types of programs or industries. I don't know if we mentioned or if the ambassadors mentioned, Monica, that all CCA courses are taught by a CTE credentialed professional, which means that they have a teaching credential, but they're also previously a professional within their field. So if you're working in, for example, the medical HMO program or in the fire tech program, those are previous professionals who worked in that industry, retired, and decided to teach now typically. So it's a great opportunity to learn from those professionals in any of the courses exactly what their day-to-day work is like, in addition to what companies they worked for or any connections that they have as well.
Yeah, and if I can just add as well that the CCA and CTE, they partner with industries, with different companies, with different current professionals right in that field. And so they have this really great partnership with those different companies and all these different organizations that provide opportunities for our students. Like, for example, Satya and Lily mentioned, in their classes they were able to do internships. Like, for example, I think Satya mentioned at Kaiser, so they do partner with Kaiser to provide this opportunity for students to get on hands-on experience. So there's so many different partnerships, not just with medical a specific field, but there's so many other partnerships that they have within CCA or CTE.
We have a question about yearbook counting as a performing art. It does not. Yearbook would be.
It can.
It could be, but it depends on your school's UC doorways list. Doorways is an antiquated term. They don't call it that anymore. But it depends on your school and what they consider it to be. Okay, because different yearbook classes have different requirements, and that will impact whether or not it counts as a performing art or as a college prep elective, right? So you're gonna have to look at your school specific list. And if you wanna know, you can always ask your academic advisor at your school or email us at CUSD-Futureology and we can look it up for you.
Great questions tonight. All right, I think we're about wrapped up. It was really, really awesome presenting with you ladies this evening. I hope that this was informative, that our families got some great information. Monica, do you want to follow up with everything that they're going to get in their follow-up email?
Yes, I am going to be sending an email with the presentation and then just some our 9th and 10th grade checklist that Jen kind of covered a little bit. So I'm going to give you one. I'm going to send you that. I'm going to send you the career process, right? The career planning process. Let's see, another A through G chart so that you can review A through Gs. And so that's all I'm going to be sending you. And then also a survey. I didn't mention that early, but please give us feedback on how well or how awful we did. Hopefully it was well, and let us know what your thoughts are. And then also if you have any questions, you can, of course, I'll send you contact info on there and more instructions on how to schedule an appointment and our upcoming events. So that email is going to be packed with information.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We hope you have a great evening.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you in our other events as well.